Alright, let's go on a date with the fantastic Whipple. Oh, suddenly bursts into your office, accompanied by a sound of police officers. This music here, I swear it sounds a bit like Phoenix Wright. Like when you start an investigation, or at the beginning of before an investigation starts, and you're just sort of sitting around with Maya talking about the previous case and what are we going to do for money? Oh, if only a case landed in our laps, and then boom, case. Oh, boss, it appears Pip Whipple has arrived. And I believe she wishes to speak with you. Actually, Miss Miller, it is your real name. If that is your real name, I'm here to speak with you. Officers, restrain this man. Is this about the elephant I had him punch this morning? I can explain. No, what's going on here? Justice is going on. The officers surround Battle Butler. They attempt to pull his massive beefy arms behind his back, but they can't gain an inch. Oh dear, this is most irregular. The officers struggle against Battle Butler's immovable arms, putting their whole body weight into it. He pays them no mind. Most irregular indeed. Perhaps you're wondering why I, Pip Whipple, amateur detective extraordinaire, would wish to speak to an unassuming butler. Yes. Unassuming is a bit harsh. Not as harsh as what I'm about to say. The officers resigned themselves, moving her Battle Butler and simply handcuffed their wrists to his. The uncertainty of this action is clearly visible in their eyes. Boss, I have irrefutable evidence proving once and for all that your Battle Butler is our culprit. He walks in close and whispers in your ear. Do you trust me? Of course, as far as I can throw you, which is pretty far. You can throw me around later, I've got work to do. That's not quite what... No, never mind. I have gathered 3 pieces of evidence. The letters, a letter, and a Deus Ex Machina. Which would you like to hear first? A letter? Must you recall the letter which I discovered the custom after my last visit? Ah, yes, I remember. I will describe it again nonetheless, because this is part of my monologue. The letter in question was a vague threat towards a non-specific person to admit guilty when pressed. It proved that we were dealing with something bigger than we first expected. The letter, boss, was signed by a cryptic W. Ah, the most sinister letter. Hey, that's the first letter of your last name. Correct, but a pointless coincidence. At first, the letter W holds no special meaning. That is, until we turn it on its side. Thus transformed until it becomes the Greek letter Sigma. Or you could put it upside down as the letter M. Aha! I see you share my king investigative tonic. Sigma is, of course, the 18th letter of the Greek alphabet, and thus is the 18th letter of the English language alphabet. 18th, what is the 18th one? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. Okay, R. Precisely. 18th letter of the English alphabet is the letter R, which just so happens to be the final letter of Butler. Wow, I mean, I've read lots of like detective things with mental gymnastics, but Jesus Christ. I feel perhaps that is a tenuous connection at best. Would you like to know more? Yes, the letters. And it was addressed to Sir or Madam, implying that perhaps more than one guest received the same threatening letter. I had no suspicions, so I thoroughly dug through everyone's trash the following day. There were exactly 11 letters, one to each of the fine gentlemen and ladies gathered in the room they were like. The suspicions were true. Everyone in the room was being blackmailed. Now for the grand final. I myself oversaw the construction of your accusatorium. What I didn't tell you is that I installed my own personal surveillance system. That's right, I hid my crime-solving pet mouse inside the... crime-solving pet mouse, okay. Deputy Officer Julius Cheeser saw everything that transpired that evening. I had expected to need his testimony because it takes him a really long time to use a typewriter. But this morning I woke up to see he had submitted his report. He describes the butler was seen distributing the blackmail letters before everyone arrived. Well, that doesn't look good for him. Indeed. Surprisingly, absolutely everyone, it turns out that the butler did it. I've used my connections at the police station to arrange for his execution to be moved up to right now. This is getting interesting. What do you have to say for yourself, Mr. Butler? Indeed, I just read those letters, but I am unable to deny my guilt. Excellent. On to the execution then. It's most important that we wrap this up right away. My life is the service of the bosses. However, if this is what you want, boss, I shall die with honor. I don't understand what's going on here, but I trust very good boss. As he is your butler, it is only customary that you choose his means of execution. Drowning, he loved the ocean. Let him go out the way he lived, fighting wild animals. Bless you, boss. Well, Butler grabs the police officers by the back of their collars and carries them out, following Pip to the waiting police convoy. It will take President right down in the zoo, where the police prepare Battle Butler for the battle to the death. Ah yes, here we are. Time to do an execution of the obvious guilty criminal. Pip looks around nervously as the police corral feral lions, tigers, and bears into the enclosure surrounding Battle Butler. Indeed, time to end this man's life for his crimes. 3, 2, ahem. Any last words? Let's get on with it then. Battle Butler impatiently kicks the cage door open and immediately piled on by various manner of wild beasts. No, wait! Just then a voice calls in the distance. Stop this madness at once! You? No. This is all wrong. The butler didn't do it. None of the evidence points towards him. I knew it. I didn't want to believe it, but I knew you were behind this. The W on the letter sounds for Whipple, but not me. Rather, the intended Wilfred Will Whipple, my father. I've been saying it was Whipple all this time. You're never supposed to find the letter. I set you up so that you couldn't fail. Now look what you've done. You staged this? All this? Well, yes, well. Not the part where you execute an innocent man. All the other suspects would have just believably bought their way out of jail. And why did you suddenly move this man's execution to today? That's not how due process works. Speaking of, out of a bus from the pile of beasts, triumphantly riding a bear, he runs up to the edge of the enclosure and leaps to safety. Pardon me, I couldn't help but overhear the current situation, so I decided to stop my execution while we sort things out, if you don't mind. This fucking game's insane, but I love it. I fucking love it. Anyway, battle time. I just love every crazy moment of this game. Stabby, 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 stabby. My throat is dying. Stab, 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 stabby, stab. Stabby, stabby, stab. Stabby, stab, stabby, stab, stab. Stabby, stabby, stab. Da, da, ba, da. Woo, there you go. Right, Superman gets the vampires. Geek gets the busters. And we go this way so we can hit the blue one. Towards the blue chest, which I'm sure people will appreciate. Yes, boulder buster skin. 10 assists from buffing. Probably quite possible if I use this guy, because he's going to be buffing a lot of people. I've got you, father, and boy am I pissed! Once I realised I was being toyed with, I decided to set a trap. Isn't that right, Mr. Butler? Please don't cross with me, boss. Don't be cross with me, boss. It appears I may have deceived you. Mr. Whipple approached me some time ago to request my assistance in a rather unorthodox scheme. I suspected you behind this, father. I figured if I put an innocent man's life on the line, you would step in before it was too late. Close enough. You got me. I faked a murder to give you something to investigate. And solve. I knew it. You're always supportive. You're always so supportive I could die. So supportive you could die. What about the dead man? Oh, merely a professional wig swallower who perished during the course of his duties due to an unfortunate but common workplace accident. We as society do not pay enough attention to the hazards of professional wig swallowing. A lot of the statements in this game are just like that meme where it has a guy going, get out of my face, I can't believe you've done this to me. Again, you always do this. I'm sorry, Pippi Bear. Just leave. Mr. Whipple and the police officers head out. Pip, meanwhile, has stomped her way over to the corner, and now she sits with her arms around her knees, scolding. Dad's her. I know, I can't believe my dad said an entire murder just to make me feel like a real detective. Sure, I figured that it was him eventually, but not before I made a fool of myself in front of everyone. I always want to be a detective because of the adventure and the romance. I just want to do something real for a change. Growing up rich is not a lot of room for gritty realism, you know? Plus, looking like I do, people just never take me seriously. Especially as I put you in this cool costume. I wanted to prove that I could do this for real, on my own. With the help of my trusty partner and a smattering of trained animals. I know my dad was just trying to help, but this only made things worse. I grew up reading my father's detective books, and you may not know this, but my mother is the chief of police. I always looked up to her. I just wanted to do the whole bit, the whole detecting, the monologuing, the arresting. You know what she was about? Arresting my butler. Why don't we arrest the one behind this whole charade? Your dad! As much as he deserves to suffer for what he's done, I just don't have any reason to put dad in jail. After all, he was only trying to help. I'm not sure anything he did was technically illegal. Perhaps being a detective isn't all about dramatic speeches and deciding who gets the best. Maybe sometimes it's about not arresting people? After all, we're investigating the hell out of this case. Unless the doer would have fallen for my dad's lies, but not us. So the murder wasn't real. Who cares? That doesn't make our detective skills any less formidable. I've got to thank you, boss, for sticking with me through all this. Without you, I might not have been able to get to the heart of this conspiracy. And even though the final victim doesn't make me sad, well, that's just adds to the air of gritty melodrama that every good case needs. That excuse me, I need to chew out my father for faking some guy's death. But don't think this is the last you've heard of Pip Whipple. You'll be hearing from me soon. And when you do, you'll solve a real mystery together. With that, Pip skips off to swear at her dad. Oh! Sexual status, nice.